Most people are living their lives from a heart place and not a head place. Most people are governed by their emotions. How many of us are living a headless life? Real decisions that move your life along are not coming out of your emotions, they're coming out of your head.
Feelings can get us into trouble. But we've got to learn how to follow wisdom and not just follow our feelings around. If you live on that shallow level, of just always letting your flesh have its way, later on you're going to have some major regret. Friends, the pain of discipline is minuscule compared to the pain of regret. You've got to learn to discipline the negative feelings and keep a good attitude anyway.
A person who does not function out of their head is a person without government, because you will forfeit what God has given you because of how you feel. Are you so busy managing your feelings and the feeling of the people around you that you're not making progress in life? You can't cry your way out. So why are you doing what doesn't work? Why are we loyal with ineffectiveness? And we are loyal to things that we know don't work, but because this is how I feel.
Don't be surprised at the fiery trial that you're going through. It is only to test your quality. It shows us what we're really made of. And unless we learn how to rule over our emotions, then we're not going to get out of that situation. God loves you too much to just leave you alone. He is going to constantly be pushing you and giving you opportunities to improve. See, we cannot control every circumstance in life, but we can control how we respond to those circumstances. You need to learn to pray, God, help me to remain calm. Help me to rule over these emotions.
You're being fought by imaginations. Some of you are stressed to death over what ifs and maybes.
We got to discipline these negative emotions. It's a decision that you have to make. God is not going to make it for you. You've got to discipline yourself.
Whatever you do, don't lose your head. The enemy wants to cut off your head and leave you with feelings. With every blessing, there is a battle. The enemy would not send that level of battle against you if there were not that level of blessing before you. If you're up under attack, there's something to be gained.
We all love to be blessed, but here's the key. With that blessing is going to come opposition, people that are not for you. The question is, can you handle the persecution? The favor on your life will stir up the jealousy, the envy in certain people. You have to pass the test of overlooking insults. They wouldn't be talking if you weren't making a difference. Let God take care of those that are trying to make you look bad. You have to be okay with them not being okay with you. You don't need everyone to celebrate you. You don't need their approval. You have Almighty God's approval. People can't stop your destiny. The blessing on your life is greater than any force that's trying to hold you back. When people don't accept you, don't take it personally. It's not about you. It's about the favor that God's put on you. With great favor comes great haters. With great abundance comes great opposition. When you see great blessing, soon someone will not understand. And this is not to discourage you, but to prepare you. Stay on the high road. The grace is there to handle it. You have to rule your emotions. Don't let jealous people steal your blessing. Don't argue with people that don't matter. That negative chatter is a distraction. You don't have to respond to the negative. A response gives that person credibility. Some people are not going to like you, and that's okay. But sometimes we're trying to change people's minds that are never going to be for us. The best response is let your life, your example, do the talking. You have the grace to rise above it, the grace to not let it bother you. Step into that grace and move forward. Someone throws an insult, dodge it. Tries to make you look bad, dodge it. The persecution is a sign that people can see the favor on your life. You can't be blessed without persecution. Where God is going to take you is going to require greater discipline and greater obedience. My question is, can you handle the blessing? I already know the answer. Yes, you can. The reason some people never reach their highest potential is because they never get away from the wrong people. You're spending all your time and energy on someone that doesn't understand your destiny. When you get around true friends, they won't be jealous of your gifts. It'll be just the opposite. They'll give you ideas. They'll help push you further along. It's not the quantity of friends that's important, it's the quality of friends. See, you need people that will come into agreement with you and release their faith, not people that will tell you what you can't do and release their doubt. Who you have in your inner circle is extremely important. Are they building you up or tearing you down?
Make a list of who you communicate with most and ask yourself the question, what kind of person am I becoming because of this relationship?
Some of you don't realize how much that one negative influence is holding you back.
I know people whose lives have been ruined because somebody wasn't good for them.
A lot of times we think, I know this person is not a good influence, but if I make a change, I may not have any friends. But you never give up something for God that He doesn't give you something back better in return. That person is constantly complaining. You don't need that poison going into your spirit.
You want to begin to get all the toxic people out of your life.
Don't get me wrong, I'm all for helping people, but I've also found some people don't want to be helped. You cannot spend your whole life trying to pull someone up and expect to fulfill your God-given destiny. Are your friends making you stronger? You cannot soar with the eagles as long as you're hanging out with the turkeys. Your time is too valuable to spend it with people that are constantly draining the life and energy out of you. Show them the door.
There is a shift going on in your life, and it starts with your head. When your head comes out, it won't be long until everything begins to shift. Touch your neighbor, tell them I feel a shift.
There are many times where you have to learn to control your emotions, and as kids, if you learn to control your emotions, it's going to be beneficial for you in many ways. But does that mean that you should keep a normal face all the time? Never show emotions? No, it's not like that at all. There's, like everything else, there's a dichotomy that you have to balance. If your kid wins a wrestling match, you should be happy and great and smile and yeah, high five, right? That's cool. If you bite into a amazing piece of prime rib that your wife cooked for you, then you should raise your fist to the air and say yes. So there you're going to show some emotion. If you get bad, if you get news that you got a friend that died, you got to let those emotions out. There's all kinds of situations where emotions are not only acceptable, but they're needed and they're required. And in fact, if you don't have emotions in those situations, that's horrible. You need to have them, not only as a person, as a human being, you need to let out your emotions sometimes, but as a leader, if you don't show any emotions at all, no one's going to follow you. There's no connection between you and the people on your team. And if you just sit there and think about people that you've worked for that didn't show emotions, you have no connection with them. You don't care about them. You'll leave. You won't go the extra mile to get the job done. So you have to show emotions. But of course, there are many times in life, in the world, where showing your emotions are going to have a negative impact on your situation. You give up the takedown in a jiu-jitsu competition and you show it in your face. That person just thinks I just broke you, right? Yep. You don't show any emotion there. Boss tells you you're getting stuck with the underperforming team. Don't show any emotion, right? Don't, oh man. Don't do that. But hey, what about this? There's a good one. Boss is giving you feedback that you don't agree with. roll your eyes. You know what I mean? The heavy sigh, the clenched teeth as you're trying to listen with this person. You don't even respect him. He's telling you, what's that going to get you? Not going to get you anything. Then showing that negative emotion there, you need to keep normal face in that situation. Your kid's doing something that's annoying. It's trying to test your patience. And they're just trying to piss you off. Don't let them. Keep it in check. Here's another one. We already talked about this one. Your friends are poking fun at you because you missed a shot at the range, or you got lost on a land navigation course, or whatever. Get all mad. Don't get frustrated. Don't show any emotion. You know? They make fun of your haircut. They make fun of your accent. They make fun of whatever. Don't show emotions. Don't freak out. That's the other balance. Now, there are also times where you might have to force yourself to show some emotion just to get the point across, right? Your kid hasn't listened to you after 5 or 6 violations. You might have to show some anger. Or they do something that's going to get them hurt, right? You got to show some emotion so that they realize that was real. But flying off the handle and losing your temper is almost never does you any good. So, yeah, you have to be balanced. In order to be balanced, you have to be in control. And in order to be in control, you have to detach from your emotions. So you control your emotions and not let your emotions control you.
If you base your value on people's support, how much they approve you, encourage you, then if for some reason they stop doing that, you'll feel devalued. As long as they're telling you you're great, you'll feel great. The problem is, if they change their mind, they're not telling you that, you're not going to feel great. You can't base your value on what people give you. People are funny. They'll say you're beautiful one day and I don't care for you the next. Hosanna on Sunday, crucify them on Friday. If you don't know who you are without them, then if they leave, you'll be lost. They'll take you with them. Your identity was caught up in who they made you to be. You'll try to find somebody else to tell you who you are. You don't need people to tell you who you are. Quit letting how people treat you make you feel inferior. They don't control your destiny. They didn't breathe life into you. They didn't call you. They didn't anoint you. They didn't approve you. Your value came from your Creator, from the God who spoke worlds into existence. The good news is they can't change your value and you can't change it. God put it in you before you showed up. You don't need their approval. You don't need their encouragement. They don't have to validate you. It's good when it happens, but if you're depending on it to feel secure, then if they don't do it, you're going to feel inferior. Don't give away your power. Don't put your identity, your value into somebody else's hands. Even good people can't give you everything you need.
You cannot control the shit that's happening around you, okay? So just understand that there's always going to be things that happen that you can't control. That's okay, that's life. Understand that you can always control what you think and what you do in response to the things that are happening. So, what does that mean? It means that if you're the kind of person that gets triggered easily, you get pissed off, you snap at people, you build resentment, you're going to use the 5-second rule. You're going to use the 5-second rule the second you feel that wave of emotion. And I know exactly what you're feeling, Melanne. I think we all do. You know how that thing happens with the people that you love where you see them and you just want to kill them? It happens to me too, and it happens to the people who love me. It's normal to have frustrations rise up, but it's a choice to let those emotions make you snap. So what you're going to do the next time you feel your emotions rise up is you're going to count backwards using the 5-second rule. You're going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The second you hit 1, your prefrontal cortex should be engaged because we're drawing the focus away from the interior part of your brain and we are awakening your prefrontal cortex. You now have control. You have the ability to choose what you do next. I use this technique to manage my response to the emotional triggers all the time with my kids. When normally in the past, something that they did would make me really upset and I would snap, I now silently count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that alone allows me to collect myself, adjust my tone of voice, and speak in a way that actually is consistent with the kind of parent that I want to be. The other thing that I found is that the more that I interrupt myself from snapping or being triggered by my emotions, the easier it gets. And the second thing that I've noticed is that by simply lowering my tone or slowing down my pace, in other words, being in control of what I'm doing, it is amazing how much more effective I am actually as a parent because I'm not getting emotional. And I think oftentimes with the people that we love the most, we get into these patterns that are really destructive where we're triggered by each other and then we get emotional and then we use our emotions as a justification to not be great with people. And so all of what we're talking about is normal. It's normal to feel frustrated. Letting it make you snap, that's a choice. It's normal to get angry. Letting that be a justification for being an asshole or abusive to somebody, that's a choice. And it's a choice you don't have to make when you start to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 manage yourself in response to the things that are triggering you.
The devil's job is to make you think you ain't gonna make it. The devil don't care about you. That's his one job, to keep you from your destiny. The devil don't ever want you to be what God created you to be. When you discover your gift, then here go the devil. You got this job over here, you're gonna lose your 401k. You can skip all of this, but you gotta quit letting the devil keep you from your destiny. He got you thinking you're gonna mess your credit up if you quit your job. If your card max out at 5,000 and you got 4,090 on it, you're gonna have to make a choice. He tried to keep you from being who God made you to be. If you've been dreaming of opening that business, you should start the process. See, if you make one step, he'll make two, but he can't make his two unless you make your one. Fill out the application. Send in the paperwork. Do something, man. Start creating a website. Let your job sponsor your dreams. Take that money and start your website. What is you talking about now? Take whatever money you owe Kmart and Sears, buy your business cards. Take one of your bills one time instead of paying it, and don't worry about where you're going with it. He'll show you the way to go. But he got to make sure that you want to get to your destiny first. He going to show you how to do it. You can believe that. And don't ever be too proud to pray.
What are you going to do with the life he has given you and the time he has given you and the gifts he has given you and the resources he has given you? What are you going to do with it? There's somebody in the hospital wishing they could be where you are right now. But look at you. I know you got some problems and I know you got some issues. You got up out of the bed. You brushed your own teeth. What are you going to do with what God has given you? Excuse me, let me show you some Shazam! 4. I got 10 and you got 4. How can you be that happy about 4? Both of us have 100% increase over where we started.
Live full, die empty. Live life on their terms and not to be a volunteer victim. You're saying yes for a bigger life. You're saying yes, I'm ready to be empowered to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. You're saying yes, I'm tired of playing small. You're saying yes to providing for yourself and your family. I'm not mentally fit to work for somebody for the rest of my life. Yes to your dreams. Yes to your unfolding future. My heart would beat so fast. And my heart said, I can do that. My mental conditioning began to speak. You can't do that. You don't have a college education. What makes you think that you can speak for AT&T, Procter & Gamble, McDonald's Corporation, IBM? You can't do that. How many of you ever thought about something you wanted to do and then your mind talked you out of it?
Don't judge where you are as where you're going to stay. God has some transfers for you. Transfers of influence, transfers of resources, houses that you didn't build, promotion that you didn't work for. Now, this transfer requires obedience, honoring God, doing the right thing when it's hard. There will be seasons like with Joseph that it's not fair. Nothing is changing. People that don't honor God are passing you by. Don't be discouraged. Your time is coming. It's going to happen suddenly, out of the ordinary. You couldn't have made it happen. It's the hand of God. What's significant with all three of these people, Nehemiah, Joseph, and Ruth, none of their circumstances circumstances looked like they were about to change. Joseph was sitting in prison. You're telling me he's about to be the prime minister of this powerful nation? I don't think so. Ruth was in the fields picking up grain. You're saying she's about to own this field? I don't see how. Nehemiah was a busboy working in the kitchen. You mean he's going to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem? I think you have the wrong person. When you look at your situation, everything may say, there's no way you'll accomplish your dream. No way you'll own your company. No way you'll get out of this problem. No way you'll meet the right person. You're right where they were. The good news is one transfer, one shift, and you'll have the resources, influence, opportunity that you've never seen. Don't talk yourself out of it. Don't live with a scarcity mentality. You have to give God permission to bless you. Quit believing those lies that you don't deserve it. You come from the wrong family. You're not that talented. You've reached your limits. God needs you to build His kingdom. He's counting on you to make the world a better place. He's destined you to take your family where they've never been. He wants to entrust you with resources, influence that you've never imagined. Be faithful where you are. Honor God with what you have. He's looking for Josephs, people that keep doing the right thing when it's hard. He's looking for Nehemiahs, people that have a passion to build His kingdom. He's looking for Ruths, people that don't let bad breaks cause them to live bitter. I believe that's you. Because you've been faithful, because you have the right motives, God is about to show out in your life. Others that haven't honored God, seems like they've passed you up. They've gotten good breaks, gone further. There's about to be a shift. God is going to put resources into the hands of the righteous. Influence is going to shift. You were in the background, now you're in the foreground. You were struggling to get by, now you have abundance. You thought you'd reached your limits, but suddenly you're thrust to a new level. I believe and declare a transfer is coming for you. Like Nehemiah, you're going to accomplish dreams bigger than you thought possible. Like Joseph, you're going to handle resources you've never imagined. Like Ruth, you're going to go from working in the field to owning the field. I know it wasn't fair. I know they did you wrong. You don't understand it. Leave that all in God's hands. Just do your part, get your passion back, get your faith back, get your dreams back. This is what made David a champion. Not that he didn't have injustice, not that he never had bad breaks, things that weren't fair, people that did him wrong. He knew how to get back up. He dried his tears, he shook off the defeated mindset, told his men, get up, we're going to go attack the enemy. He didn't stay on the defensive, thinking that he's seen his best days. His attitude was, I have a destiny to fulfill. This bad break didn't stop my purpose. I know that God will make it up to me. And that's how you move forward when it's unfair. Not looking to people, not hoping your boss will feel sorry for you, not counting on your friend to make it up to you. Look up to your Creator. Look up to the Most High. He's the one that has beauty for the ashes. He's the one that can bring you out better than you were before. David and his men headed out. They didn't know where the Amalekites were. Along the way, they found a man that was very sick. They gave him food and water and asked who he was. He said he was a slave of the Amalekites. They had left him behind. He was too weak to travel. David said, tell me where they are and I'll spare your life. He led them straight to the Amalekites' camp. God knows how to put the right people in your path. He knows how to get you to where you're supposed to be. The Amalekites were having a big party, celebrating the victory. Sometimes the enemy celebrates too soon. Don't worry if you see them celebrating. God is not finished. David and his men attacked. The scripture says they recovered everything they had lost. All their wives and children were unharmed. They got all their possessions back. Not only that, they gathered up all the spoils from the Amalekites. That's what happens when you don't let an injustice, a bad break, a loss cause you to get discouraged and settle where you are. But what stops us many times is we have a good reason to be sad, a good reason to give up on our dreams. Had a bad childhood, person walked away, the company let us go. Wasn't our fault that we got knocked down. I understand that, but what I'm saying is it is your responsibility to get back up. We wouldn't be talking about David if he'd used that bad break as an excuse. He was honoring God. He was not taking revenge against King Saul. He didn't get bitter when his family left him out. Would have been different if he was slacking off, compromising, doing whatever he felt like, but he was being his best. A person of integrity, yet the bottom fell out. That's a test. Are you going to let it be an excuse that keeps you from your greatness? Or are you going to get back up knowing that God is still on the throne, that He has good plans for you, that what tried to stop you was only setting you up for something greater? 3 days after David's biggest defeat, 3 days after he lost everything, he not only recovered it all, but King Saul was killed in a battle and David was made king. When you face your biggest battles, the most unfair, unjust, that's a sign that you're close to seeing your greatest victories, your biggest accomplishments, your most rewarding relationships.
You know, one of the things that Maya Angelou used to always say to me, and I love this, she used to say to me, baby, those people can't hold a candle to the light that God already has shining on your face.
Yeah.
Can't you see? So I learned to focus on the light that God has shining on my face and not worry about the people who trying to put up a candle and burn it.
When you have haters, you have to understand what haters are. Haters are a very limited number of people. They're really not the massive amounts that operate in your life. It's just that hate is so loud. Hate is louder than love, but love is stronger. If you focus on the people that love you, you can blow over the haters. Haters ain't. Most people hate you only because of the way other people love you. That's why you got most of your haters anyway.
You're allowing people who don't matter, right, in the grand scheme of your life, when it comes to like the totality of your life, the grand scheme of your life, you're allowing people things that really don't matter to matter so much. That's why I hardly respond to like the negativity or the hate. It's really got to a point where it's funny to me. I feel sorry for those people because it doesn't matter. It doesn't. I know they're not going to support me. They're not going to do anything for me. So why does it matter?
What you may think is a disappointment, a person that walked away, a friend that betrayed you, a coworker that's trying to make you look bad. You may not like that, but you couldn't reach your destiny without them. It's all a part of God's plan to get you to where you're supposed to be. David would only be known as a shepherd boy if it wasn't for Goliath. Goliath was strategically placed in David's path, not to defeat him, but to promote him. Without Goliath, David would have never taken the throne. Don't complain about your enemies. It may look like a setback, but really it's a setup for God to get you to your throne.
People's opinion of you is none of your business. I have lots of haters. They on the internet all the time. But who are they though? They don't even know me. People who are haters on the internet, I call them thumb gangsters. They just typing. Their little punk got a private page. They saying about. They don't even know me. So I don't give them no energy. I give haters no energy. Steve ain't this. He think he this. You don't even know me. So I just keep going through. But then I tell you something too. Haters motivate me. Because when they talking about me, that means I'm doing something. If you have no haters, if you don't have any haters, you ain't doing nothing, man.
We don't have to play up to people, try to convince them to like us. Hopefully they'll give me a good break. No, God doesn't have to use your friends. He can use your enemies, your critics, the ones that are trying to push you down. He can use them to push you up. Some of my enemies, I feel like I need to write them a check. If they hadn't have been against me, I wouldn't have prayed so hard. If they hadn't have made fun, I would have given up sooner. If they hadn't have told me I couldn't do it, didn't have what it takes, might have been complacent, settled where I was. It was their opposition that pushed me forward. Many times, God will use your enemies to catapult you to success more than your friends. David said, God prepares a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Notice, when God brings you through the opposition, He's not going to do it in private. He's going to do it where all of those enemies can see it. The longer I live, the more I realize nothing happens by accident. Even the opposition, if you'll keep the right attitude, God will use it to your advantage. I was talking to a well-known minister one time. For over 50 years, he had gone around the world doing so much good. Most people were very appreciative. But in his hometown, the local newspaper was never for him. They were always finding fault. He could do 100 things right. They wouldn't report that. They'd find the one thing they didn't like, make a big deal out of it. This went on year after year. He had an interesting perspective. He said, if it hadn't been for that newspaper, I would have never accomplished so much. I thought, what do you mean? He said that newspaper not only kept me on my knees, but it gave me the fuel to keep pressing forward to prove to them that they were wrong. He went on to build a beautiful university in that city. Tens of thousands of young people have attended. And toward the end of his life, when he was just about done, all of a sudden the newspaper had a change of heart. They wrote this big front page article celebrating everything that he had done. It was almost like God waited on purpose. God knew that enemy, even though my friend didn't like it, it was making him better. It was keeping him stirred up, made him more determined, more resilient. Some of the things that we don't like, we're asking God to get rid of. If He removed them right now, we wouldn't reach our highest potential. That opposition is making you stronger. Those people trying to stop you, the betrayal, the disappointment, that cannot keep you from your destiny. God has the final say. And if He hasn't removed it yet, that means He's going to use it for your good. He strategically places the Goliaths, the Judases, the opposition. Without Goliath, you can't take your throne. Without Judas, you won't reach your highest potential. Without the naysayers, you wouldn't become all you were created to be. Some of the favor that you're seeing, some of the good breaks you've had, it didn't happen because of you. It happened because of those people that tried to stop you. They put you in position for promotion. Now, I always thank God for my friends, but I've learned to thank God for my enemies as well. The scripture says, don't be intimidated by your enemies. Don't be intimidated by what somebody said. Don't be intimidated by a negative medical report. You and God are a majority. When Jesus came out of the grave, He took the keys of death and hell. He said, all power has been given unto me in heaven and in earth. Now I'm giving you that power. You are not weak. You are not lacking. You are full of can-do power. The greatest force in the universe is on your side. When you see where God takes you, the favor, the promotion, the blessing, you're going to look back and say like the psalmist, it was good that I was afflicted. See, if David were here, he would tell you, it was good that Goliath showed up. Jesus would say, it was good that Judas betrayed me. I can tell you, it was good that executive was against us. It may have been uncomfortable at the time, but one day you'll say, this enemy didn't defeat me. This enemy promoted me. Now stay in faith. God has your back. He wouldn't have allowed the pressure unless He's going to work for your good.
Chẳng thể quên khi cơn mưa đêm lại về. Em đã quên lời thề và ta như đông chìm sâu. Không còn mới em anh nhận màu. Em chỉ cần mơ đâu em chỉ còn là những cơn mưa vô giá. Cho bên mơ em không mơ anh. Anh một đêm mơ chỉ cần bên em không được cần nhớ. Và chỉ có em không muốn nhớ. Và người ta bên nhau như ngã tớ. Muốn nhớ về say em chỉ có mấy em ở đây. Và anh như muốn chết đi nhưng không muốn em mơ mày. Tình yêu làm cho ta đau đầu. Cùng em như nằm hâm mộ. Anh như đeo mong cầu. Và mưa bên em ngủ sầu. Chào các bạn mai em mơ. Chỉ có bên em nhưng là khó mơ. Mà đã ra em muốn bên ai. Anh không mong gì hơn. Chỉ mong em sẽ ở đây ôm anh
I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper.
Anxiety, filling up every space, no privacy. And silently, it could build and build until you finally see, whoa, it's taking over, damn no closure, moving closer. No exposure, I just wanna be a loner. Some can't stay sober, looking over all their shoulders, like moving boulders just to get out of the home. It sucks, I've had enough, I don't wanna feel the stuck under the rug, all my problems that I shove.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper.
I've been feeling weird, I can't seem to focus good enough. Nothing's really clear, sometimes it could be a little tough. I just need to feel like the end's in sight for me, but let's be really real, anxiety can foggy all this stuff. I've been feeling weird, I can't seem to focus good enough. Nothing's really clear, sometimes it could be a little tough. I just need to feel like the end's in sight for me, but let's be really real, anxiety can foggy all this stuff. It sucks when you finally feel like giving up. Oh God, no luck, everything feels like you're sticky stuck. I'm lost, handcuffed to the bed where I sleep, don't give a fuck. Can't stop, unplug, feeling over